few other people say it, including some really respected people in the industry who I won't name. But when I was studying Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, I was so kind of enthralled by these systems because there's thousands of years of study and evidence to back them up. And there are these huge cultural groups that believe strongly in these systems. So the first problem is we do have to be careful of how they intermingle with religion and with magical thinking. So, and it's hard to separate that in the pre-scientific era. So you have cultural and religious elements that come into the medicine system. So that's one thing to watch out for. I was really interested in what Ayurveda and Chinese medicine have in common, and why both systems work within their cultural setting and for those groups. Why do they have certain differences and why do they have certain similarities? One of the reasons they have differences is because of the genetic differences in the populations they were built on. So that's why the systems sometimes debate certain topics. Like in Chinese medicine, milk is poison, and in Ayurveda, milk is a superfood. It's the perfect superfood, and it's so perfect that you even cook your herbal medicine in milk. Right? Whereas Chinese medicine says it's poison, it's a junk food, it's no good for anyone. And that's because of genetic differences in the population. But what I extracted from all those studies and my own ill health and the fact that Chinese medicine and Ayurveda doesn't work for many people when it's done in a very traditional way, including myself. If I stick very strictly to Chinese medicine healthcare, under the care of a highly qualified Chinese medicine practitioner, or to the best of my own knowledge, I'm not healthy. It's the same with Ayurveda. And what I've extracted from those experiences is that those systems were built on agrarian cultures, number one, agrarian cultures and genetic groups. So the cultures and genetic groups in the world that have had a very long time to adapt to an agrarian diet. Not to a hunter-gatherer diet or what they call casually a paleo diet. I think paleo diet is kind of a misnomer. It's kind of the wrong term to use, but so people know what I'm talking about, I'll use the term paleo diet or hunter-gatherer diet. Ayurveda and Chinese medicine were created to adapt to the perils and pitfalls of the agrarian diet. So India and China are famously some of the largest agrarian groups in the world, and they've been doing it the longest. So there is some genetic adaptation to the agrarian diet. But the other thing is that the medicine systems that developed around that diet are to help treat the problems that come with the agrarian diet, right? So in many ways, a hunter-gatherer diet for certain genetic groups will solve all of those problems, and you will need less medical intervention or less herbal or supplemental intervention if you're eating the proper diet. So that's been my experience, and that's what I've pulled from my experience of studying those
What were
systems.
your symptoms back then when you tried that diet or tried that way of living?
Well, there are some funny stories. Like
We want to hear some funny stories.
I joke that when I went to stay at an Ayurvedic treatment clinic and get treatment, general treatment for my health,
Share with us.
I found my weight was fluctuating a lot, and I was having energy fluctuation problems, and I was having some skin problems. I was having acne and different things, a lot of heartburn, like all these minor things that the doctor doesn't really want to treat, and they give you over-the-counter treatments for, and they never make any recommendations about food or dietary change.
Really?
Right, of course. So they say, why are you coming to see me? Just buy something over the counter and that's it. But when these problems are chronic, it's really annoying, and you wonder, well, what's wrong with me? Why is a conventional diet not working for me? And my health seems to be getting worse and worse. So the next option is natural medicine. And I went to an Ayurvedic clinic in India, and they put me on a very strict Ayurvedic diet and gave me herbs and gave me
Beans.
Lots of beans, lots of beans and lots of rice, and vegan diet, and a lot of herbal medicine. And The treatment caused me to gain about something like 10 kilos of water weight in about 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
So I swelled up. I looked like I just puffed up.
That's inflammation problem.
I became this like horrible pale color.
Oh, okay.
I was this like pale kind of bluish color, and I gained about 10 kilos in weight.
Oh
and I was asking him, I was like, well, when is this going to get better for me?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Like, what's going on? And they said, oh, it should work. Like, let's keep going with this. And
keep the hope.
after a few more weeks, I kind of gave up, and I started sneaking down the road to have barbecue chicken and a few other things. And then at the clinic, I decided that I would no longer eat anything. The most obvious heavy carbohydrate and high glycemic index carbohydrate that they were serving was rice. Everything was rice. So I cut out all the rice. So I was only consuming beans and vegetables.
Yes.
I was sneaking away and having chicken. And I immediately sort of disinflated and went back to my normal color. I got like pink in my cheeks again. Went back to my normal color, while also cutting out the rice. Most importantly, is cutting out the rice.
Cutting out the rice.
But after a few weeks, I was also quite physically active at that time, and I needed the protein. I needed the animal products to make me feel better. And now I know that beans don't suit me very well either.
How did you find out that bean isn't the right thing for you?
I did it through a lot of trial and error and just doing various kinds of elimination diets. And I had heard of the idea of anti-nutrients and these sort of suspect chemicals or offending chemicals that are in certain foods. Then I just experimented with eliminating beans and see how I felt.
So you call that elimination meal?
Elimination diet.
Elimination diet, yeah.
If you want to know what you're sensitive to, you eliminate all of the most common allergens or anti-nutrients from your diet and see how you feel.
Yeah. What are the most common allergens?
Beans. Gluten-containing grains. Gluten-containing grains, especially wheat. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, the non-gluten containing grains also create problems because of other chemicals in those grains.
Okay.
And by chemicals, I mean natural chemicals.
Okay.
So there's a long list of potentially offending natural chemicals in food. Phytates or phytic acid in beans and legumes. There are some other ones that are specific to soybeans. There's a few different problem chemicals in soybeans.
Soya.
Yes, that's a whole other topic that we can get deep into.
Yeah.
Gluten-containing grains, and then chemicals like lectins that are found in other grains and nuts and seeds are problematic for some people. Less common, dairy can be a problem. So milk products. Milk is another big topic because it's not cut and dry. It's not crystal clear like milk is good or milk is bad. It's a very complex subject, and deciding for each individual, depending on where they are in the world and what kind of milk, what kind of quality is available to them, what kind of animal does it come from,
what do they eat?
What does the animal eat, and then what is their geographic location, constitutional type, all of that stuff, and whether they're simply lactose intolerant or not. There's all kinds of things that change someone's tolerance to milk, not just the common idea of lactose intolerance. So we can get deeper into that. So milk, eggs are sometimes an issue.
Eggs sometimes an issue?
Sometimes it's an allergen for people. So that's a common allergen.
Right now, I'm like, everybody's thinking, I don't know what else to eat.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to eliminate all those things. I would say if you have a lot of mysterious minor symptoms in your health, and the doctor's not really able to help you with it, or the doctor helps you with the symptoms but you don't feel better, try an elimination diet and try eliminating the most common problem foods.
Yes. Okay,
which are
dairy,
gluten,
wheat,
dairy, and for many people beans, especially soy. So soy first, and then all beans and legumes second. So first tier might be dairy, gluten, soybeans.
Dairy, gluten, and soybean.
100% elimination. See how you feel. see how you feel. If you get a little improvement, but not complete improvement, you may want to eliminate more foods. If you get no improvement whatsoever in 2 to 6 months of following that elimination diet, it might be time to try other eliminations.
Okay.
So you can reintegrate, probably, if you're not having any improvement at all, you can reintegrate the gluten, you can reintegrate the dairy, you can reintegrate the soybeans, and then try eliminating like eggs, all beans.
So what's left to eat?
What's left to eat? I mean, personally, I love what I eat. So I eat a lot of different. I like fatty foods a lot. I like green vegetables a lot. I eat a small amount of high quality fruit. So I choose fruit that has a lower glycemic index that you eat smaller amounts of, with good nutritional density. So I love berries. I love like dark colored, dense fruit. I try not to eat too much fruit, but it's still part of my diet.
Well, because in this culture they think that fruit is good, and then they just eat all types of fruits all day long. So it's like the Asian snack.
Yeah.
So here we don't eat donut. We don't have a lot of Coke, but we have the bubble tea and we have the fruit, which is really yummy for everyone. Well,
so bubble tea is a completely processed food. You never know what's in it unless you read all the ingredients. It's a junk food. It's a junky
Asian
dessert
junk
food, and the ingredients of bubble tea will vary from country to country and shop to shop and recipe to recipe. So you don't know what you're getting, but you do know that it's a highly processed, sweet, high carbohydrate, highly processed food. So why
you have the bubble, the tapioca thing.
Yeah, but what else is in that tapioca ball? Sometimes it's just tapioca, sometimes it's other stuff as well.
Always have to soak it in sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar is good.
Yeah, so the overabundance of carbohydrates, again, that's a big topic, and we can go really deeply in there. I know that I'm extremely carbohydrate sensitive, and if I just look at a carb the wrong way, I gain weight and my energy drops. So I don't want to do that. I've decided I had enough of my adult life that was negatively affected by not understanding my best diet and the best way to achieve optimal energy and optimal health and optimal cognitive function. So I'm not willing to put it aside at this point.
Yes, I see.